Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope all of you are doing great. So just a couple of weeks ago, Nokia released the Android 12 update for remaining devices in their portfolio, and it is interesting to see that HMD Global did not waste much time by releasing Android 13 update for eligible devices. So a couple of devices has already started to receive the Android 13 update, especially devices like the Nokia X10 and X20. While I do not have the X10 with me, I do have the Nokia X20 with me to share with you a live update process. I have shared earlier the developer version, the developer preview of the Android 13 on X20. The installation was smooth. There were a couple of hiccups with the general feel of the Android 13 update, but that was a beta version. So I'm very curious to see what the final update is like. So I'm going to share with you the live update process of Android 13 on the Nokia X20 today. So let's have a look with what Android 13 has to offer. So this is the Nokia X20 launched in April 2021. Now this device promises 3 years of security update and 3 years of major software update. So that means since this device was launched with Android 11, we are bound to see an update probably up to Android 14, but that is questionable. But this device has received the Android 12 update and the Android 13 update, and that means that if we are lucky, we'll be getting Android 14 update for this device next year. Now, just for the other users out there who are curious about the update, now I'd like to share with you my TA number. Now, do take note that this update that I have here, as you can see, is the Android 13 update version 3.36 with the November security patch and weighs in at 2.34. Now, this device was bought from Hong Kong, and I'm currently in Malaysia, so I do believe that the update is actually available in both this country. Do take note on the TA number for my device. The TA number for my device is TA1341. If you want to try on the VPN method, do take note on your TA number. You must have to have a compatible TA number before you set your VPN to a country where the update is already available, for example Malaysia or Hong Kong. So this device will not work if that particular TA number has not received the update as intended. So with that said, let's start the update. Now before that, as always, let's just see if the camera received any update. So I'm just going to read out the camera version with Android 12 97.12.31302.10. So I'm not sure if we will see any new camera update, and if we receive a new camera update, whether there will be added features in it. So as usual, let's hope for the best and hope everything goes in smoothly. Now do take note, with every major update, there will be tons of update pending on the background, especially the system related updates. So you might want to do that and give your device probably a day or two to settle down, and a soft reset would probably be helpful to keep things going smoothly. Now this is the Nokia X20. It has a very unique configuration: 8GB of RAM, 128GB of storage. It also was one of the early devices to use the Snapdragon 480 platform. Now one thing that I do like of the Nokia X20 is the very capable camera system. It has a primary 64 megapixel sensor along with the 5 megapixel ultra wide, a 2 megapixel depth, and a 2 megapixel macro sensor. Now the primary sensor is actually quite good, and the raw capability of this device is also pretty impressive. So there we go. So this is the Android 13 on the Nokia X20, one of the quickest update till date. Everything went in quite smooth, no hiccups or no delay there. So visually you can see that the icons on the on the X20 here on Android 13 is pretty much the same as it was on the Android 12 build. So I'm not sure if we do have any new options here. You do have the options for NFC available right in the drop down menu if you want to. The features for extra DRAM, super battery saver, all that is good. And I believe that this is more or less how it was on the Android 12 update. So one thing that I do notice up front is that there is a new option to switch on and off your phone directly from the drop down menu option. So if you were to just drop down your menu all the way, you can have an access to the settings as well as to the power to switch off your device. Now, just to show you that this is indeed the Android 13 update, as you can see, Android version 13, November 5th, 2022, no new security update, though it is December. So pretty much a straightforward experience. I would say that it is pretty smooth for now. Everything seems to be very fast and responsive. Now, of course, the burning question is this having a new camera firmware? So I'm going to read out again the camera firmware here, 98.1334102.20, which is indeed a new camera firmware. So I'm very curious to see if it brings in all the goodies that the X30 and the G60 5G has to offer. So one thing that I can note from all this is the visual change of the camera user interface. So this is how the interface is with the Nokia X30. So you've got a new option for menu option here. So you can see the certain options already available here, such as the options for watermark. You've got the level meter, which is really good. I do believe that this was not available in the Android 12 version. So level meter allows you to capture the image on a proper level. So once it is really horizontal, for example, it will sort of vibrate to tell you that it is actually horizontal, and then you can click an image without any tilt, so which is really helpful. Now if you go to the settings here, you do see the standard options available. You still have the also audio recording. Now I'm going to just run through the menu here because it's quite interesting to see if there's any new addition of any new features here. So we do have cinema mode. So as you can see in the options here, this is how the new options is, and you can see it's still limited to sort of probably a full HD plus kind of resolution at either 50 megabytes per second or 20 megabytes per second. You do have an option to actually record this as in a steady video. I do believe this was somewhat available previously. You can shoot in H-Log. This is not new, and pretty much that is it with the new cinema mode. So video recording is still nice to see, available for both the primary and the ultra wide. Now do take note on this. Now you do shoot this at 1080p at 30 frames or 1080p 60 frames per second, but the stabilization option is only available for the 30 frames per second. You can't have stabilization on for the 60 frames per second, which is a bummer. Now photography is a standard affair here. When it comes to the portrait mode, it is interesting to see that the Zeiss portrait mode is somewhat still available here, as you can see here. So you do have this Zeiss mode available for the portrait. When it comes to the night mode, unfortunately you can see that there is no night mode available for the ultra wide, which means we don't have fusion also for the ultra wide, and at the same time this is not night mode 2.0, as we don't see any new features like the dark vision or the tripod mode, which is set. But nevertheless, interesting to see how this new algorithm would have changed the way the images are processed. Now if you go on the more thing, you can see there is unfortunately no new addition of features such as speed warp, which is available on the XR20. So that is a sad thing to see. Now the other thing here is that unlike the ones on the X30 and G60 5G, if you were to drop down the menu, you don't see what's new here, which makes me believe that these devices like the X20, for example, might not be getting more frequent updates in the camera department compared to the X30 and the G60 5G. So this is something to take note of. Otherwise, I would say that this is pretty much a straightforward update, pretty much stable. It will definitely take a day or two for the update to settle down, and probably a soft reset would help. Now I just want to see if there's anything new here, especially when it comes to the display, if there's any new option. So night light, dark theme, these are all the usual things. You can adjust the white balance if you want to. Pretty much I believe most of the improvements with Android 13 is under the hood, and very less or minimal visual changes here. So this is how the Android 13 is on the Nokia X20. I do believe the experience is going to be the same with the X10, for example, and I'm very curious when the XR20 will be getting it, since they do have all the same processor. I do believe we might be seeing an update for the XR20 probably in time for the holiday, and that means that newer devices like the Android 13 update for the X30 and the G60 5G should be pretty soon. So with that said, I do hope all of you enjoyed this brief live update presentation for the X20. I do hope to see you in my next video. Do take care. As usual, if you do have any question, do hit me on Twitter, where I am more active these days. So do take care. See you in my next video.